Hi, folks. Darron Stewart with Stewart Stewart Attorneys, back with Nick Wagner, talk about some of the phone calls and the questions that we get on a regular basis. It's been a big developing area. One of the areas that we get a lot of phone calls on now, it seems like more and more calls, is from a client who was a backseat passenger in a rideshare, like an Uber or a Lyft vehicle.
Yeah, sure.
And that Lyft vehicle or Uber vehicle was in a car wreck. And our client is a passenger in the back. And it may or may not have been the Uber driver's fault. It may have been another vehicle's fault. Regardless, what do I do? How do I deal with that? I barely know this person. I just have their nickname on my cell phone app and all this, and they don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. Well, 30 years ago, the question was, what if I'm in a cab? What happens then? But now these Uber and Lyft drivers, we're seeing more and more cases involving them and sort of that relationship. But the analysis starts just the same as it does with any other case that we handle. We look at the police report. We look at who was at fault. If it's a situation where the Uber or the Lyft driver was at fault, we would be pursuing the Uber or the Lyft driver and sort of in a roundabout way going after their insurance company and making sure we can get a recovery for you there. But the law doesn't afford you any less protection just because you're in an Uber or a Lyft driver's vehicle. Mm-hmm. If that driver is at fault, it's no different than when you're in someone else's car and they're at fault. It's the same situation there. We're going after their insurance. But if it wasn't the Uber or Lyft driver's fault, then we'll be looking at, well, who else was involved, in terms of other vehicles.
And there may be an insurance policy on the actual vehicle that they were in, that the policy's in the name of that Uber driver, their personal policy. But sometimes people don't realize that we can pursue Uber or Lyft directly, and they have insurance in place for that. Yeah. That's a policy to make sure that they're covered. A lot of times the insurance on the car, the driver's personal insurance, wants to bow out of it because we say in our policy we're not going to pay you if you're out there.
And so the insurance companies start doing this thing. Yeah.
It can be a real pain. And we have to track down a police report and get information that way too. But it can be a complicated thing, but we get a lot of calls about that. So if you're in an Uber, in fact, I had one call where someone, there wasn't a car wreck. They were exiting the Uber at their destination, and the Uber driver took off too soon. And the door was still open, and they were stepping out, and the door slammed closed as they pulled away, and the client fell on the sidewalk and got pretty seriously hurt. So, that still came down to pursuing that policy.
Yeah.
Because of the negligence of the driver.
Sure.
So, but if you have anything like that, give us a call. Be happy to talk to you about it.